This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Mr. Furones, how you feeling? You feeling good?
Yes, sir. Came back from a nice vacation, so got back to work yesterday. Caught everyone up on the defensive coordinator candidates. I was still tracking it a little bit while whenever I got the chance. So kept up with the candidates who were getting interviews, and then now this is a big week of interviews for that, and we'll see what it means going forward.
Are you married? Are you married?
Am I? No.
You're single?
No,
You're single?
I am not.
Okay. I was going to ask you how. I was going to ask you how was that ass
Yeah,
in Colombia, but I can't get into it because you have a girlfriend apparently. So I don't want to. See, I've been married for. I'm going to celebrate my 30th wedding anniversary. My wife and we're comfortable, bro. So I can openly talk because she understands this is a guy show. So if I have to talk about women, I'm going to talk about women. You know what I'm saying? But I know a lot of you aren't necessarily in the same kind of relationship, so I can't necessarily. I know Joe Rose would get your ass in trouble, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to respect that part and not ask you because all we hear about Colombia is that there's you know what I'm saying. By the way, that's Colombia's been known as a place that lonely men go to a lot to get a little companionship. See, you didn't go for that. You went for other reasons, but I'm sure you noticed that there were, right? I'm sure you noticed.
It was a boys trip. It was a boys trip. But did you hear me wrong? I just say I am single. You might have heard me wrong.
Oh, you are single.
That I am single. Yeah.
So then, how was the ass in Colombia, bro? I heard it was fantastic. I hear the streets are loaded with good-looking women there.
Oh, they're very attractive women, yes. And we can go into further detail in a private moment, but on the show, we'll keep the topic.
Are they very friendly with tourists?
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, and everyone is really. I mean, I just found Colombian people in general to be very friendly across the board.
Yeah. It's the cartels are the only problem.
Not like my people Cuban. Not like my people Cuban. We're all assholes.
Yeah, Colombian people are actually really, really cool. It's just you just can't mess with the with the drug lords. That's the only part.
Right. There's an element.
But you know what?
You got to stay away from.
Right. And being Cuban and growing up in the 80s, I'm already used to that. So I just know, I know how to keep my distance from those people. I respect. You respect them. They usually respect you and leave you alone. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I would imagine it was a guy's trip in Colombia. Yeah, that's a lot of fun right there. That's a lot of fun right there. Good stuff.
It was a good time.
Right. So do you have a gut feeling? Because they've had a thorough search now, and they are interviewing a slew of people. I thought for sure they're going to pick one of the two guys inside the building for continuity purposes. Now, they did a very responsible thing in talking to everybody. And so obviously a Brandon Staley runs the same kind of system, that kind of stuff. So you tell me, will an outside guy be the option? Will the inside guy be the option? Do you have a gut feeling right now?
Yeah, if we're just talking gut feeling, I mean, I felt this way just sort of at the beginning of the week, going through the weekend, and he was the first name to sort of pop up. But maybe it would be Brandon Staley, and not like I feel tremendously convinced about it, but maybe like percentages wise, I'd give him a slight edge over others. Just I think Mike McDaniel really does have a level of respect for that meeting in 2022, the defensive game plan that Staley had a lot of defenders out, and the Chargers defense really stifled the Dolphins in that game. And then sure, Mike McDaniel, then he got his when he had him again the next year in the opener, and the Dolphins put up 36 points on Brandon Staley's same defense. In fact, a healthier version of the defense to start the next season. So But I mean, I think he does just respect the level of how difficult it is to game plan against him, that he makes you just bring an extra level of game planning to that matchup. And but Mike McDaniel, he had the whole offseason that year to prepare for that week game. So so that probably helped him a lot in that regard. And other than that, then I might look at Leslie Frazier, just because he's another veteran mind. He's had a year off. And he would offer a lot of insight into the team that the Dolphins have to get over, which is the Buffalo Bills, having been there for so long before he took this little sabbatical hiatus, whatever it is in his mind. There are the internal candidates, Anthony Campanelli, who I love as a person, and Ryan Slowick, who one of the Slowick brothers. They're both on the rise. So he just 1 year as outside linebackers coach. He's up for it, interviewing, and then a couple of younger up and coming outside candidates emerging. Chris Kiffin, who has a previous tie with Mike McDaniel, and also Anthony Weaver with the Baltimore Ravens. So those intrigue me, but I feel like to get a veteran defensive mind might be more of the move because of this win now window that the Dolphins are in, more so than just going with an unproven promoting a guy on his way up. This may not be the situation you want to do that in.
Yeah, and I think you bring up a great point, because I thought you go within because you stay with continuity. But now that Brandon Staley is kind of in the mix, Leslie, I don't think runs the exact same defense, but Brandon does. And so you also don't want to have to make too many changes, and you want as much continuity as possible. So the Brandon Staley one starts to make more sense to me, only because of what you just said. The experience is already there with Brandon Staley. It's already proven. Whereas, unfortunately, with the guys, the assistant coaches you have with the Dolphins, they're really what's it called? Hill, right? Was the other guy. He was a defensive coordinator for a short time, right? For 1 year.
Yes, with the Chargers. It might have been two. I'd have to look it up again, but right.
So yeah. So he has a little bit of experience. So that's kind of and if you're Mike McDaniel, you don't have any more room to screw up anymore. You have to get shit fixed next year, whether you like it or not, because you may not get a fourth year, or if you screw up next year, your fourth year is hot seat hell year for you. You know what I mean? Because if you screw up next year, by the end of that year, you're going to have 80% of the fan base wanting to fire you. And maybe they will. But if you hang on, you're barely going to hang on, and you're going to be, with a lot of heat. So he has to do something this offseason that doesn't really upset the cart too much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. And this is such an important hire for him from that perspective, because you felt like, okay, he's going into year two. He nailed it with the Vic Fangio hire. Josh Boyer was a holdover from the previous regime, and that Mike McDaniel wanted Fangio from the start, but then the Dolphins' internal push, whatever it was, to keep Boyer, keep some level of continuity on the previous defense, which was successful under Brian Flores, all that. But then he got the guy he wanted, and then now that guy is gone after 1 year. So I think Mike, from that regard, you talk about scheme, probably wants that continuity because this is already the style that he wanted on defense. And Brandon Staley is an understudy of Vic Fangio. He spent time under him both in Chicago when Fangio last year, he was defensive coordinator there, and then Denver when that year, that 2018 season with the Bears, got him into the head coaching ranks of Fangio, and then that way Brandon Staley was under him there in Denver, then rose to become defensive coordinator for a year with the Rams, gets a head coaching job, now going back into the coordinator ranks, based largely on some of his game management decisions. So, I mean, that's why I see him, and it's like you said, it's really important for Mike McDaniel to nail this hire.
Yeah, he better nail this hire. What'd you think of Ron Jaworski's comments about Vic Fangio? Did you hear him?
Oh yes, that there was a more so a problem with the players wanting to party and take part in the Miami lifestyle as opposed to Vic Fangio's way of coaching.
For
right?
those that have not heard what Ron Jaworski told a radio show host, or podcast, I don't know what the hell it was, but let's hear from Ron Jaworski. Sean, can you play that soundbite for us, por favor?
Impact's 0%. Coach is coach. And, I have connections as well around this league. And, I hear another side of that story, that there were some players on that defense that didn't want to work, didn't want to put the time in, didn't want to put the effort in, didn't want to make the commitment to be successful. Guys like to party at night, and South Beach is a really great place to party. And Vic tried to get those guys and push those guys to become harder workers and better athletes and more committed to their team. And he couldn't get through to those guys. So those are the guys that Vic was pushing, and they're the guys that are whining right now.
Javon Holland is not that guy. Sorry. I'm going to go out on a limb, okay? And read who Javon Holland is. No. When he's kicking rocks, see, that's the part where I call bullshit for Ron Jaworski. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been thinking about this for the last 24 hours, and I don't know about the other guys. Okay. Who was the other guy? Was it Brandon Jones that complained? Right. I think it was. And even Cam, or who was it?
No. Well, Javon Holland posted the kicking rocks.
And somebody else.
Cam Smith posted the unlocked emoji. But then also Jalen Ramsey throughout the season and a lot of interviews was very open about that he wishes he was used in a different way. He was sort of the first one.
Right. Jalen Ramsey. You want to tell me rookie Jalen Ramsey that was maybe a little bit immature and all that he came in like all of us when we grow up. But Jalen Ramsey now, after all these years, is as professional as it gets. He's very religious, by the way. He puts up something every single day. Okay. And then Javon Holland, I don't even have to hang out with Javon Holland. All I need to do is see who he is. And that guy is way mature and too intelligent to be doing stupid things out in the street. So I'm sorry. I don't know the other kid. I don't know Cam Smith well. So I don't know if he's a party guy or if he's not, if he's lazy, he's a hard worker. I don't know the guy from a hole in the wall. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Jalen Ramsey and Javon Holland, when it comes to character, I'm going to go with a 10 there. I'm good with those guys. So I call some bullshit on Ron Jaworski. You go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, those are two guys that they have that dog in them, that phrase that we hear so often nowadays. Ramsey established. He is as established as it gets when it comes to that. You don't have to worry about him. And him more so it was complaints about how he was using the scheme. He wanted to do more. So it wasn't.
He didn't want to work.
Yeah.
He would have made it back from that injury that quickly. Okay?
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That certainly was not the issue with him. He wanted to work more. He wanted to be more involved in the defense. It was actually quite the opposite. And Javon Holland, I mean, he is that dog that he's got. I mean, you see it like when he has that 99-yard Hail Mary pick six, the way he goes up, gets the ball, and he's immediately just bolting it down the other way. It's just those type of plays, the range that he plays with. So I don't see him as
how he carries himself, my brother. That's all. I don't even care about the player. I look at Javon Holland, the man, the way he handles the media, the way he carries himself. He's just one of those dudes, bro. Like, seriously? Like, you can't tell that, come on, man. And that's where I was thinking overnight. I'm going, you're going after Ramsey and Holland? Yeah, I'm not going with that. Sorry. Not going with that one. Sorry.
Yeah, on Holland, at least I'll say that certainly I wouldn't question necessarily his work ethic. It's just he's a guy that's at least proven in that regard that he's got it up there. And then he did have an injury late in the year, and maybe Vic Fangio felt that he should have been out there. He should have been back sooner from it. But you never know what's going on behind the scenes as far as how a guy is is healing, is coming back from it. So he missed some time, tried to come back. He had to tap out of one game because it wasn't working for him. So just
Bro, that was one of the odd. That's an odd injury, dude.
Yeah, he had it on both knees, so he can't even compensate.
Come on.
Yeah,
come on. I mean, that was. How do you come back from that? You that's just a process. You don't get to cheat. You don't get to use half of your body. You don't get to do it. You can't work without both legs. You know what I'm saying? And again, and nothing against Cam Smith, by the way. I apologize, Cam. I'm not saying you did anything. I'm not saying you didn't. I just don't know anything about you, man. So I can't defend you. But I am going to go out on a limb and say the other two guys, nah. You're out. Go pick a. If you're telling me Preston Williams doesn't want to work, okay. If you tell me, Robbie Chosen's a little bit of aloof, okay. There. If you tell me Raekwon Davis is a little consistent, let's go. I'm all good. I have track record. I can see it. You're going to start picking on Javon Holland and Jalen Ramsey? No, we got to fight now. We're going to fight now. That's what we're going to do because no way. So when
guys like that, you make it work with them.
Come on, bro. Those are leaders.
And even previously, we've mentioned, all right, so I'm a younger guy, but I have somewhat of an old school mentality where sometimes it's both. It's a give and take, players and the coaches. That if the players are changing so much, Vic Fangio is used to one style of coaching. How come it was never a problem? His style of coaching in past years. Okay, a little bit of that, but still, as a coach, you always, and this is what Mike McDaniel, I believe, wants to instill is you adjust to the guys that you have. So a good coach is versatile in that regard, in that he can understand the guys that he has in the locker room, those personalities, and fit to how to make them their best. It's not that the players have to always adjust to the coach. It's more so that's the coach's job to adjust to the players that he has. Yeah.
And let me tell you something. I've known about Holland since the draft. Okay. I kind of, when I was at onside doing our thing, we created draft profiles. Okay. And we would play them throughout the day leading up to the draft. So and positions of need, and whether it was offensive line or a wide receiver or whatever. And I would pick a few of them. Do you know how many profiles I made for safeties?
How many?
Javon Holland is the only one I made. There was a reason why I did that. I didn't tell anybody, but I just put it out there. Like, even if anybody picked it up leading up to the draft, like, damn, he has a variety of all the other, but in safety, which we need, he only picked one guy. I wonder why. And so, I kind of threw it out there because I already knew about him, and people in the NFL were telling me, people all over the league love this kid. They loved his maturity. They loved his leadership qualities. Javon Holland was one of those guys that was wanted by a lot of teams. Miami was one of the lucky ones to end up drafting him, but it was, it's so that to me, it was just kind of funny when I hear Jaws say that. And to me, it just sounds like an old Philadelphia Eagles player / former employee / homer that is just kind of take the company line all the time. And, that's not my style, bro. Yeah, I'm a hometown guy, but I'm not going to take the company line. That's not going to be my deal. You know what I mean? But that's kind of what it came off of with Jaws.
Right. Well, when your source is Ron Jaworski in that case, who was a beloved Eagle and so on and so forth, he's giving you the Eagle side, and whatever he's hearing, he's not hearing from inside the Dolphins' current structure and locker room. He's not privy to that information to know that any of those players are out partying in Miami. And that's sort of also kind of like a generalization made. Okay. Oh, these Miami athletes, they probably wanted to party too much. They were out and about instead of watching film every night or something because they're in Miami. So I know
what I saw. Vic didn't use Ramsey to shadow people. I know what I saw. Vic didn't blitz the Tennessee quarterback when he had to. I know what I saw. Josh Boyer and Brian Flores blitzed the shit out of Lamar Jackson. And I predicted it last week. I said, and we're going to have Matt Verderame at 11. And I told Matt, I said, Matt, Spags is going to blitz the shit out of him because Fangio didn't. And of course, if you have 3 or 4 seconds, any quarterback can complete some passes with 3 or 4 seconds. But if you get after Lamar and don't allow him to think, there's no way he's going to beat you. And sure enough, that's what they did. So to me, what I saw from Fangio was a guy that did not adjust, because you have to adjust at times. Not everything is going to go your way. You're not going to be able to play your style of football all the time. There are times where you're going to be out of your comfort zone, but it's important for you to be out of your comfort zone. And that would have been those moments right there. You should have blitzed the shit out of Lamar Jackson. That's the only way you beat him. You're going to make a mistake or two, and he's going to pop a run, and it's going to happen, but you got to live with it. Didn't they live with a 74-yard run last year? Was it 74 or 75 yards, right? Am I correct?
Like that. Yeah. A long play to Bateman. Rashad Bateman had a long touchdown.
Right. You live with it. And in the second half, you kept getting after him, and you shut him down, and you came back and won the game. So to me, that's what I saw from Vic, a guy that refused to adjust and was set in his ways. I talk a lot about Jimmy Johnson. He comes in, he's set in his ways, and I can't trade Dan Marino. Okay, so if I can't trade him, I'm going to trade away Irving Fryer. I'm going to trade away his pass-catching running backs. I'm going to take away audibles from him. Really? So that's going to make your team better? Is that what you're doing here? And so, I've seen coaches that are set in their ways, and they set their team back. Mike McDaniel does that at times when he doesn't commit to the run like he's supposed to. And Vic Fangio did it this past season, where there were times he just would not adjust, dude.
Yeah. And in fact, you bring up that Ravens example. I mean, the John Harbaugh put that game a little bit too much on Lamar Jackson and let Steve Spagnuolo sort of dictate that. I mean, you have the top rushing offense, and you go to the pass out often in a game that it's not like it was out of hand, like they had to go to the air. They could have kept the run game in the game plan for much longer. So similar also to McDaniel in some cases.
Listen, what I keep saying is, Tua's not Marino, so stop playing him like Marino. Tua's not John Elway. Tua's not Joe Burrow. And Tua's not Pat Mahomes. You need to play him the way you play Jordan Love, the way you play C.J. Stroud, the way you play Lamar Jackson. While they're all different in one way or another, you need to complement all these kind of guys with the run game. There are very few quarterbacks. I'm 57. And in the last 50 years, I don't know if I can name 15 quarterbacks that I would put back there and say, you have no running game for 4 quarters. Let's go. We got to do that for the next month. I can do that with Mahomes and Burrow. I can't do that with anybody else in the NFL. I can do that with Elway. I can do that with Marino. I can do that with Warren Moon. There's only a few of those guys in the history of the game, Jim Kelly or something. And even Jim Kelly had Thurman Thomas, who's a freaking monster and a half. You know what I'm saying?
Are you giving that to Josh Allen?
No, of course not. He doesn't have the accuracy to do that. Are you kidding me? He'll get in trouble every time by throwing interceptions. Mahomes and Burrow are the only guys that you can say in a day, oh shit, the running game's over. We got to just sling it. Mahomes and Burrow are the only ones. And even with Mahomes, they ran the ball with this kid 32 times. Well, not the kid, because he ran not 32, but they ran the ball 32 times. They didn't have a lot of success, but that's the difference. They were smart. They kept them honest. They kept expecting the run. Spags, I don't know what he did to them, but he screwed with them right away, and they dumped the run. And you cannot do that in the NFL with 98% of the quarterbacks. You must complement them with the run. You have to. Yeah. And that's just the thing everywhere. It's not a Lamar thing. It's not just a Tua thing. It's really in general in the history of this game. Bro, Bob Greasy, but we did the math, right? Bob Greasy threw like 18 passes in 2 Super Bowls that they won. Okay? 18 or 19 passes in 2 Super Bowls.
That was with Larry Zonka, Mercury Morris, and Jim Kick back there.
Hey, when you have the Ravens, that's what you should have kept going
You
against.
You had the 2023 version. Yeah,
you have to live and die with what you are. You can't go and try to be what you're not. That doesn't help you out.
Any defensive coordinator, any defense, they prefer to go up against an offense that's one-dimensional. If you have to defend both the run and the pass, that makes everything twice as difficult.
Yep, exactly. And with that secondary, you just went and challenged the best secondary in the league in Kansas City.
Stopping the run or not, commit.
Oh,
especially when your run game is the number one in the league. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. It's crazy. Yeah. Anyway, what do you got going on the Sun Sentinel so folks can check you out?
Yeah, more defensive coordinator updates, whatever comes up, and that'll go through the week. It looks like it's definitely going through the weekend with the interview schedule going at least through Friday, and then maybe check in on what's going on in the Pro Bowl. A lot of Dolphins out there, so that could be going on this weekend, and I'll be posting a Dolphins Q&A. I tweeted asking for Dolphins questions, so still taking questions over there. If anyone wants something answered, either online on X or in the Sun Sentinel.
All right. Did you reach out to Deshaun Watson?
Did I reach out to Deshaun Watson?
Where am I going?
Why would that?
Well, I would figure you need a massage on that growing after being in Colombia for a few days. So, I'm just saying.
This guy.
Follow him on Twitter at Furones _
Long enough.
South Florida Sun Sentinel right here on the Welt and Rheaume Miami Dolphins Report. David, we love you, brother. We'll catch up later on.
All right, sounds good.
Call my friends, Welt and Rheaume, 954-966-4646.
This is the Big